Hey everybody, this is going to be my first video, so I don't know what I'm doing, but let's just go do it. Anyway, I wanted to start off with a bang and do one of my favorite albums. So today I'm going to be talking about one of the best ones out there. This is one of my favorite bands, Armor for Sleep. This is their sophomore album, What to Do When You Are Dead. Armor for Sleep, for you guys who haven't really heard of them, they're, uh, I would say they were emo, right? And they came up during the big emo boom in the early to mid 2000s, and it's funny how emo has gotten a lot of respect now, and but when it was coming up, there of course were detractors from that genre, and unfortunately I was actually kind of part of that. You know, the kind of music that you listen to, a lot of times it says a lot about you, right? Should. So I would almost take it literally though, right? Like I didn't really like aggressive music like Slipknot back then, because if I listen to Slipknot, then that means that I hate my parents and I'm angry all the time. And that wasn't who I was. That's not me, right? And with emo music, I thought I had to be sad all the time and wear skinny jeans and put on eyeliner. And that also was not me, right? And have hair down in my eyes, which was not me. So I didn't really like it. I thought it was a lot like a lot of people. I thought it was like this pussy rock, and it's unfortunate that I felt that way. Obviously, I've come around since then, and the bands that you think of when you think of emo, the first one that comes to mind is My Chemical Romance. I think the used gets put in there a lot. For me, my favorite emo band is Armor for Sleep. They made three solid albums. They broke up in 2009. I think they still do a little bit of touring together, but they pretty much broke up, and I made three solid albums. And What to Do When You Are Dead is one of the top albums for me. I don't have a definitive top 10 albums of all time because that's like too much to commit to, but I do know that What to Do When You Are Dead would be on that list. That's how good this album is. So let's start talking about it. Uh, So, What to Do When You're Dead is a concept album. You can tell by the title, it's about this guy who is dead, and he's trying to he's going back into his past, to his life, figure out who he was. Most of it is about, his girlfriend, his lover, his love that he's revisiting or trying to. Um, I don't know. This first song is called Car Underwater. I don't know by the lyrics if he committed suicide and drove off a bridge on purpose, or if it was like an accident and he just died. I can't tell. But I did want to show you something. So when you open this up, oh, comes with this. Hi, Jewel. Thank you for say hi. Okay. Comes with this booklet. This little booklet. I'm gonna show it to the camera and have it not shine. It says, "What to Do When You Are Dead: A Comprehensive Guide to Your Afterlife." This is such clever marketing. This is so great. And you don't get this with streaming. This is why, for me, physical media is always going to be the best, because you had little things like this. I've got more of this stuff in some of the other albums that we're going to be talking about. And it's great. I love it. It just gives it more character, and like it's good marketing. So you open up, it's like 6 pages long, and it's got these pictures, these little figures, and it has things like light and how it affects you, your surroundings, right? You see that? These pictures. Recognizing your past, communication in the afterlife. And then the next one, it says your well being and your identity. And it's got a couple other things. I'm not going to read all through it, obviously. So I think that I love that. So I still have it. I think that's pretty cool. But let's get started with the music. I wanted to play a little bit to that kind of gives an idea of like what their core sounds like on this album. So let's get it started. Actually, so no, sorry, before I start that, I was going to read on their, so the record label that they did this with was Equal Visions. The album was released in February of 2005. And I wrote a blog about this. 2005, great year for rock music. There were so many all-time great albums that year, in my opinion. Equal Vision Records is a really underrated record label. But I'm gonna read what their bio says about this album in particular. Says What to Do When You Are Dead offers the perfect balance between a self-contained concept album and a powerful collection of songs, completely unaware of each other's existence. And then Ben Jurgensen, the singer and guitarist, says, We wanted this record to be a record where each song could be listened to individually, but still have a story flickering through every song, pointing the listener down the path we've paved for them. Now, having that in mind, they did exactly what they set out to do. This album is so good, and like many good concept albums, it works. It's so powerful when you listen to it all in its entirety. The songs work so well with one another, and they do that great thing that I think is always good when the songs bleed into other songs. I always think that's a nice effect. But the songs also work great on an individual level. So especially with our shuffle culture and the way we listen to music now and the playlists and stuff, it still works that way. These songs s- stand on their own. And so I think, and that's not always the case, actually. There's some other concept albums I really enjoy where I don't think that's all the songs are stand up on their own merit, but they all do on this one. So let's get into it. So the second song is called The Truth About Heaven. And I just wanted to play a little bit for you just to, gives that, so you know what their core sound is like. I came out here to tell you the rains in heaven all tell you wrong. All tell you wrong. I wanna find you so bad and let you know I'm miserable up here without you. Miserable up here without you. That is probably one of the standouts of the album, one of the best on there. I mean, all the songs are great, obviously, but I will give you kind of like the standouts. It goes into you got another kind of like hard rock and wow, that was bad. Okay, I hate saying that. Sound like a boomer. Okay, but this one is a banger for emo music. This one's really good. This is Remember to Feel Real. So here's the truth, you were Woo! I like that one. That one is actually a ton of fun to play. Actually, a lot of the songs are fun to play on this album. I play guitar. I'm not that great, but I really enjoy that one to play, and a lot of other ones. So that's another great thing about it. So that kind of gives you an idea of the core sound. And a really good thing about this record is that it keeps you on your toes, so it doesn't get stagnant. A lot of they do try and have the songs sound different from one another. So then you get let's go to so there's this like kind of like an intermission song called "The Quick Little Fight," and it slows it down a bit, of course, and I'll let you listen to that. That I'm flying above some trees, and they're smiling and waving at me. So yeah, that's kind of like the intermission. I think that that electronica sound is something that Ben Jurgensen, I think he's like the primary, inspiration of the band. Of course, they did write the songs together, but of course he is the driver. A lot of these Ben Jurgensen, the singer and rhythm guitarist. I think that electronica sound is something that he wanted to explore a lot more of, which might have been why the band broke up. I don't know. I think I heard that he was tough to work with, but great nonetheless. Anyway, and then you have Basement Ghost singing. And the way I'm going about this album, it's not going to be the same for like everything. This is just how I wanted to approach this. So, um, yeah, Basement Ghost singing, which has this like delayed guitar effect, which obviously like they didn't invent that sound or anything, but again, it's kind of giving new flavors to each of the songs. think that's the part of the album where it starts really getting emotionally heavy. He's, based on the title, right? He's in his lover's basement. He's trying to like reach out to her and talk to her through the floorboards, and she can't hear him. It's really, man, this album is sad. Oh man, it's so good. It's like perfect for emo kid teenagers, man. I'll get into that. And then that bleeds into Walking at Night Alone, which has an acoustic sound to it. Let's listen to that. It's another really sad one. Um, and man, they got some really good, not a breakdown, but man, it's just like good rhythm section. Let's go to I've Been Right All Along, dude. We just gotta listen to this, dude. It's just a good one to get you pumped up.
Believe me, it's the truth, I swear. Believe me, it's the truth, I swear.
All right, love it. So that's that's the album, right? And that's not the last song. The last song is the called "The End of Fraud," and that's actually my favorite song on the album. It starts off with this isolated guitar, and I want to play the entire song on this video, okay? But I'm not going to. Oh, um, I want to so bad. I'm gonna resist the temptation to play it all. We're not gonna do a reaction video on here, but I am gonna read the ending lyrics, right? Because so powerful, and I think it just speaks so much to the teenage angst of emo kids and kind of where they're at, and it's so heavy, and then the song explodes, and there's just this huge release, I think, of this person. It's just a release, and then the song ends with this just cacophony. You know that rock trope where they're kicking the drums and throwing their guitars and stuff. Like that's how this song ends. Like there's just this cacophony of noises, and it's ooh, man, it just gives me goosebumps every single time. I'm gonna read these lyrics for you. How it ends goes. Oh, yeah, okay. He says, "I saw pretty clear that when I left, you all stayed the same. Now I think I believe that I was never alive in the first place. They never heard one sound out of my mouth." To me, that's like gut wrenching to me. So heavy. I love it for emo. Uh, so what do I think about this album? I mean, look, and this is why I say for me it's a top 10 ever, but at least when you're talking about emo albums, it should be there. I think that the band has a bigger following that I'm aware of, but I don't know anybody else other than my best friends John and Michael and Jacob Ortiz, um, who listen, and Bobby Lynch. Other than that, I don't know anybody else who listens to this band. I know they have a bigger following, but um, I've met a whole lot of people that have listened to them, and it is perfect. These lyrics, I'm not much of a lyrics guy. I don't listen to them a whole lot. Sometimes you don't even want to know what they're talking about, but when they're simple enough, I like it. And when they speak to, the teenagers especially, and that angst, and that's what this album has so much. And it's heavy. It's a dark album, and it's perfect. It should be on the top 10 of any emo albums ever. And I love Ben Jurgensen is such a driving force, and I think that's another reason why this band should have been bigger. He's got a great voice for this stuff. I think I love how he does some good screaming, but it doesn't delve into, what some people normies would call screamo, or but even though I like that stuff, but it doesn't go into that, but he uses it just for extra. emphasis in the lyrics. Let's actually listen to Stay on the Ground, which is another standout of this album.
I'm dreaming less and sleeping more. But I sell my soul for the dream you stole. So get it right. Not holding on to a thing here. Get it right. Not holding on and I can't say now. Holding it.
I love that one. That one's a banger too. I think, yeah, it's unfortunate they didn't have more time together. I think Ben Jurgensen, like I said, was a powerful driving force. And not only that, actually, he's really handsome. So I think that was like that's always helpful when you want to get the female audience, is you have a handsome, good-looking frontman. I don't know how much personality he had. I guess that's important. Um, but he's really handsome too, and so I think that should have been given him a big boost. But you know what? It's okay that they only had three albums, actually, because it's a good thing, and I'm speaking directly to Armor for Sleep. You guys should be proud of your work and what you did. And I think it's okay because you have three solid albums. And that's better than you guys have lasting forever, but then just putting out a bunch of mediocre to just crap, right? Eh, because that's what it turns into a lot of the times, not all the time. And you guys have a lot to be proud of. So thank you for making this album. Um, let's see. I did want to discuss the artwork. I'm gonna take a look at it here myself. To me, it's iconic, but it might not be for everybody else. But I think there's some symbolism to unpack in this album. So you have the color. You see that green deadish color of the album. It has a lot of the same look that dead, the Army of the Dead has on Lord of the Rings. The people of what's the of the Mountain Men of Dunharrow, right? Yeah, they have the same dead look, right? So that's I think that has a lot of symbolism to that. And I like how in this album there's not a central focus. There's not something that you're solely focused on. On the bottom of the cover is the ground, and you have that song "Stay on the Ground" because there's a lot of lyrics about that staying on the ground, but then there's also a lot of lyrics about floating up in the sky and stuff like that. So then you have this big open area with the sky. So interesting. I think there was a lot of thought put into that. And I'm going to give these things ratings and don't even need to hesitate. You already know where I'm going with this. This is a 5 out of 5 album for me. This is one of the best out there. It is so good. It's so powerful. The songs, especially like I said, the final song, "The End of Fraud," gives me goosebumps still and chills to this day. It's so good. Um, so I'm happy with it. It was important to me when I was a teenager, and okay, to be clear, I did not have a sad uh, growing up. I was actually a very happy kid, right? Had a lot of friends, right? I wasn't, I guess, the stereotype of an emo kid, I guess. But that doesn't mean I still didn't have that little teenage angst inside and would sit and feel sorry for myself occasionally, especially when I couldn't get the girl right. So this album was really good for me because there's a lot of it is him kind of going through in his death, he's going through his past and finding out that people didn't people have moved on really quickly after his death and basically forgotten about him. And it's heartbreaking, right? And I think that's a lot of the struggles that teenagers are going through because they want to be seen and noticed so badly, right? Even when they say they don't. And so this album speaks perfectly like that. It's really powerful and it's just good. Man, these guys are such good songwriters. Hi, Jewel. So that's what I have to say about this album. It's so good. Thank you, Armor for Sleep, for doing it. And I think you've done other great work besides this, and we'll talk about that later. So it's not just this album. I know it's your most hyped. Okay, Jewel, you're. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I'll pay attention to you in a second. Um, anyway, that's it, I guess. I'll stop talking. I want you to listen to it if you haven't. Check it out. I hope you enjoyed some of the clips that I played for you. And that's all I'm going to say for today. And I'll see you guys next time.